Hello, my friends. Welcome to or back to the channel. I am Mars. This is the Starlit Library. I'm very happy to have you here today. And today it is somehow already near the end of July, but I figured better late than ever to do the mid-year freakout tag. I am definitely freaking out. How is it almost August already? I don't like it. I don't like it. So the first question in general will just be, how is it going? How is my reading year going so far? And I'd like to say that it's better than where it was at this time last year. I think it is. I feel like it's still a lot of my books are kind of within the 3-star category-ish, and that just feels a lot more disappointing than if it was a book that I hated, because it's like the 3-star is where there's potential, but then it doesn't really reach past that. And I don't know, I feel like lately it's just been really hard for me to rate my books on a star scale, especially because it's like I don't know how I felt about that, Like, it was good. Was it life-changing? No. Do I want more life-changing books? Absolutely. I feel like I kind of need to slow down a little bit and pick up chunkier books, because I feel like it's the chunkier books that I feel like I'm going to love more. I will give you the statistics that so far this year I have read 29 books as per the end of June. So that's pretty fucking good. That is pretty fucking good progress, if I do say so myself. How much of these were things that I really, really enjoyed? Less than half. Actually, let's go through. Let's see what I really enjoyed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and a half. Okay. Yeah, still less than half. I feel like I'm so out of practice. Every time I have some unplanned hiatus and I just forget to film for a while, and I come back and I'm like, what do I do? What is the format? Anyways, the next question is, what is your favorite book of the year so far? And again, this is kind of a hard question for me, but based on enjoyment versus plot versus impact. But I guess these other books will come up in different questions. So I feel like this spot has to go to God's Grave by J. Kristoff. I finally got around to this. Oh my god. A couple years ago when I read Nevernight, the first book in the series, it was my favorite book of the year. And I guess this looks like it is coming up on that title for this year. I feel like maybe there are books that I'd like to read that I would feel like I would rate higher than this. So this could get dethroned by the end of the year, because it was a very different setting from the first book, because the first book was more in a dark academia type of setting where the main character was in a school for assassins and she was trying to learn how to be an assassin, and I loved that aspect. But here she's already pretty established, and it takes place more in a gladiator arena, as you can see from what she's wearing, and it just has a much different vibe to it than the first book did. But it is definitely even gorier and bloodier and disgusting. But I really liked the character development and the story and the things that we were learning and the mysteries. And I don't know how the third book is going to end. I don't have a copy of it yet. I love this world. I love this world building so much, and I love the footnotes. I feel like a lot of people have gripes against books with footnotes, but I love it. I feel like it adds a lot more detail, and especially with this, a lot more snark, because of the tone of the narrator is really witty and really snarky. And so I loved going back into this world. Next question is the best sequel, and though this is a sequel and it could technically count, I'm going to give this award to The Warrior Prophet by R. Scott Baker. My goodness, I tabbed the shit out of this. The first book was good and I enjoyed it, but I had an expectation that it was going to be even darker and than what it actually was. And a lot of it was kind of like, it was the first book. It was set up on trying to get together this holy war. And this book is the beginnings of the holy war. And it was repetitive, but I just enjoyed myself so much more with this book and seeing the development of the relationships between these people, and more mystery, more philosophy, more just like contemplations about life, and just the things, the amount of times I had to like really stop and think about what the fuck was actually being said. I love a book that does that. And I was just like, there's a point I was just like giggling, kicking my feet, which is not really something you would expect from a book like this, but it was really fucking good. This is the longest book that I've read so far this year. It's like 730-ish pages, and I loved it. And the ending, I'm sorry. What? I can't wait to get a copy of the third book. I think that's what I'm gonna do for my birthday. I'm gonna give myself a copy of the third book. Next question I'm putting here is, what is the worst book that you've read so far this year? And for me, I think that is a pretty obvious answer, and it is The Castle of Crossed Destinies by Italo Calvino. This was something that one of my friends chose as our in-person book club pick, and we had high hopes because I think the premise was cool, because it was all about this group of travelers who ended up in the same inn, but when they like crossed a threshold and they all lost their ability to speak, and so they had to try and communicate with each other through tarot cards. And so everyone was telling their story of like how they ended up there through the tarot cards. But because nobody could like actually speak, a lot of it was literally just speculation, and a lot of it was just super fucking random. And I feel like the narrator was just taking inspiration from a bunch of different like myths and folklore, and just like different, I don't know, stories. He was kind of using those as clues to create other people's stories in a way where he mentioned things like Miller's Paradise Lost or fucking Shakespeare. But then it's like that really puts you out of time, where it's like, what timeline are we in? Because he would pull all of these things from different like eras, and then there was also a section that was kind of cut up into different sections, and then one section also included like technology, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? It was a fever dream, but it was like not a super pleasant one, and I don't know, it was just it just didn't, it just kind of sucked. And it sucks because I had like higher expectations also for that author. He's an Italian author that I had been wanting to read. I still do want to read some of his other works, but that was not it. Next question is new releases that you haven't read yet, but you want to, that have already come out. Ooh, Daughter of Crows by Mark Lawrence. I actually still haven't read anything by Mark Lawrence yet, I think. Yeah, no. So I do still want to read some of his other stuff, but Daughter of Crows sounds incredible. It sounds exactly like my type of book. I have some other ones written here, but I don't even remember what they're about. Oh, The Hive by Ronald Malfi. I read Blackmouth by Ronald Malfi last year, and per the recommendation of John from Talking Story, and I really enjoyed it. But I think that the plot for The Hive sounds like super fucking cool and super creepy. And I realized like I really haven't been reading much horror at all, and I really want to read more horror, so I think that's something that I definitely want to read. I'm not really much of a new releases person. Like, this is my journal spread, and this is all of the first half of the year, and there's like barely anything filled out. So other ones I have listed are The Book of the Fallen Leaves by A.S. Tamaki. That one sounds cool, though I've heard really mixed reviews about it, and that it's not all that it was like cracked up to be, but I don't know, for me it still sounds really cool, like a mix of Game of Thrones and Shogun. I also have Her Hidden Fire by Klovna O'Sullivan, and These Shattered Spires by Cassidy E. Salter. but I don't remember what those are at all. But maybe those sound cool. And also Heaven's Graveyard by Grace Curtis. Don't know what those are about, but they're here, so I guess I was interested in them. And new releases for the end of the year that I'd like to get to. I'm currently reading The Demon Star by Jesse Aragon, and this comes out on July 28th. And I'm nowhere near finishing it, but I'm like 30% of the way through and I'm loving it. It is so good, so I'm definitely anticipating finishing that one. Other ones, we have The Dawn Throne by Tara Sim. This is the third book in the Dark Gods series, and the date of publication kept on getting pushed, so I don't actually know when this is coming out, and I haven't finished the second book yet, but that's anticipated when I do get to it. The Infinite State by Richard Swan is the author of Justice of Kings. I still haven't read this one yet either, but this is his new kind of like sci-fi book, which sounds really interesting. That comes out on August 4th. Also, Scion by James Islington. Apparently I have on here set for the 1st of September, which I think is also his sci-fi. Is it sci-fi? I have no idea. These are just, I wrote these down. I don't even know how long ago. So a lot of these I don't really remember what they are. But what I do know, Blacktail by Scott Hawkins. I read, what's it called? The Library at Mount Char, which is this author's like only publication, I believe. And it was fucking crazy. So I'm definitely anticipate reading anything else from him. And this sounds really cool because it's all from the perspective of animals. So I look forward to that one. Next question is what is the biggest disappointment so far? And for this, I don't really know. I mean, like, I will say The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. I didn't really like it. I mean, I liked it, but like I didn't like it to the extent that everyone else is liking it. So, I mean, I didn't really have the best expectations for it because I didn't really expect that it would be something I would be absolutely raving about. But I feel like I kind of hate Reddit, or I just was not in a good mood. So I think it's on me. Like part of it is on me of like not really being in the best mood of wanting to read it. But another part is like objectively, it was just so fucking repetitive because it literally had to be repetitive because of the plot and the whole like structure of the story. It was supposed to be repetitive, but like I don't know, for me parts of it just felt kind of boring. I'm sorry. But another one that I had like higher expectations for that I think better fits for this prompt is House of the Beast by Michelle Wong. This one was good, but I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunity here because the plot is super fucking interesting where the main character is like attached and connected to some elder god that helps give her powers when fighting, and there was just like a whole missed opportunity of when she grew up and she didn't really know about this like ancestral bloodline that she had versus when she had to go and actually service that elder god. And like the timeline between that, we just get 8 years later and we don't actually see how she grew up in a completely different environment and how she like really trained. And I feel like that was a missed opportunity. And also, I don't know, parts of the story felt a bit slow and a little bit childish. I don't know if this is like categorized as YA. I think it might be, but I don't know. I think that sometimes really, I could feel that in the tone of the book. I think I like the way that it ended, but I don't know. I mean, like, it wasn't all that for me, the way that I expected that it might be. Next question is, what's the biggest surprise? And for me, I think I'm going to say one of them for sure was Ubik by Philip K. Dick. This was another pick for my in-person book club, and it was a delight. Like, I kept on like wanting to go back to it, and I didn't really want to put it down. And it was just full of really weird timey-wimey didn't really know what the hell was going on, and I don't know, I thought that it was really fun. It's like a group of people kind of find themselves going back in time, and their whole world around them is regressing from like the 1970s, I think, or 90s or something, into the 1930s. And all of their technology is changing, and it was just a really interesting pick, especially for book club, because we had a lot of discussions about like the accessibility and perception of reality, and like the way that capitalism played a role, because in their like present, they had to pay even like a door to open. They had to pay a coffee, their own coffee machines or their own toasters or whatever, or their own fridges. They had to like put a nickel in order for them to open, which I think is just like fucking crazy. But I think it had a lot to say about like capitalism and monetizing all of your like daily comforts, which I think is a really relevant topic. And it was just really interesting to talk about. Another one though, I will say, Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. What the fuck? Now, this was a pleasant fever dream, but also really fucking disturbing, because what the fuck actually happened? This was so fucking weird and so outside the box of genres that, like, I don't know what to really classify it as a genre. I get, like, it would be fantasy, but it's also kind of like, I feel like fantasy is like fantasy that's set in another world, but then like magical realism is, or speculative fiction is like fantasy that's set in our real world. I don't know. That's kind of how I would categorize it in a way. And so this was technically kind of like magical realism slash speculative, and it was fucking crazy. There's no way of describing it, and there's no way that I would like to describe it to you, because you really need to go into it blind and just experience that story for what it was. It was wild. And I fucking loved it. I literally read 50% of it in a single day. I could not stop the audiobook. I kind of stopped everything that I needed to be doing, and I just listened to the audiobook all day. The next question is, who's your favorite new author? And for this, I think I'm going to go with Ursula K. Le Guin. I read The Lathe of Heaven, and I guess this is also another surprise. I fucking love this. I definitely think I need to be picking up more sci-fi, because this is kind of just exactly the kind of mood that I feel like I'm in. But oh my god, this was so good. I loved the writing, and I just loved her creativity and just like the story. And there's like a lot more of her work that I'm interested in checking out. But another author for sure that I will read any fucking thing that this man puts out is Richard Powers, who wrote Bewilderment. God, his writing was so beautiful. The existentialism, the like making you yearn, and the nostalgia, and like wanting to belong, and just the. This is gonna come up in another question. Just wait. Next question is favorite character. I think this was favorite like new crush or something, and I don't usually have a answer for that, but actually my new crush, my bookish crush, I will say Kiri. Kiri, it's Kiri. He's just like a cinnamon bun, forced to do awful things, and my heart feels for him, and I just want him to be safe, and like the sacrifice that he had to make. Kiri. But new favorite character, I will say this book, loved it. Favorite character, 3 Seagrass. She is a delight. She's a fucking delight. And I loved her. I loved her character, and her character development, and how it was like kind of like hard but then easy to trust her. She's a sweetheart. I also can't really go without appreciating Lady Trent, Isabel from this book, this series because I see a lot of myself in her love for natural history and just wanting to go on adventures and not really caring about what people say about the conventions of being a female and being a woman and you can't do this because you're a woman, and still going ahead and pursuing science regardless. And I love that. Next question is a book that made you cry. Boy, I didn't just cry. I bawled, I sobbed. My reservoir of tears was completely emptied every single time I picked up this book. I had something to cry about. Even if it was just a couple tears, I connect to Robin on a cellular fucking level. This book is about a little kid who is autistic and his relationship with his father. And it has recently come to my attention, kind of, not really, kind of, that I'm also autistic. And it feels sometimes like imposter syndrome because I'm like high functioning and low support. But low support doesn't mean no support. And that is something that I've recently really kind of been struggling with and kind of been accepting about myself. And the way I saw myself literally like a mirror within this character already makes me want to cry. It really makes me want to cry because it was just beautiful. So beautiful and so heartbreaking. Trying for this dad, especially trying to find a way to like accommodate for his child who is growing. For his child who is growing. For his child who's growing up in a world that is not accommodating him. And it's just heartbreaking and it's just so beautiful, especially the meditations on life and about how hard it is and how this really parallels our real world. And it mentions a lot of like politics and, well, not a lot, but like it mentions politics and how like ugly and disgusting the world can be, which is just something so hard to have to grapple with, and trying to like live your life and find joy regardless and try and take even the smallest steps to change the world, even though like it feels fucking futile and it feels like nothing's ever going to change because I'm just this one person. And it's just like those are the same things that I've been thinking about like literally my entire life. And just I connected so deeply and it made me cry every single time I picked it up. I picked this up first as a library book, but then I went ahead and I bought my own copy and I took my annotations in pencil from the library book that I then erased, and I like transferred those into here. And as I was transferring those annotations, I started crying again. And I completely forgot to include that his dad is an astrobiologist, which is another one of my fucking interests. I fucking love that aspect. Next question is a book that made you happy. And I don't know, I mean, like most of the books I've been reading, like that I read ever, are pretty dark and kind of gruesome. But I will say Rat Queens was a fun time. That was a really fun time and I really liked the characters. What made me happy? This was fun. Like this made me happy, especially because of the ending. I love the ending of this. I read Dungeon Crawler Carl. Hello. Thank you very much for the first time. Finally. That made me happy, but it was also, you know, the existential part of it of like, wow, your whole world has collapsed and you are forced to fight goblins for the rest of your life now. That's pretty fucking crazy. But parts of it definitely did make me happy, especially because I was buddy reading this with Bo from Bo's books. Thank you for the buddy read. That was so much fun. So parts of this definitely were entertaining, made me laugh out loud, made me happy to read it. though parts of it also were very repetitive in my opinion. But that was a fun one. Next question is the most beautiful book that you've purchased so far, or that you've received so far, or gotten, whatever. I haven't really bought a lot of books this year so far. I did go ahead and buy this after reading it, which it's beautiful. But in terms of like my favorite cover, and because I don't really buy special editions, I don't really have the monetary ability to buy special editions. But this is one of my favorite covers. I got the second book to the Helm of Midnight. This is the second book that I got, and I fucking love this cover. I think it's so mysterious. The art style is gorgeous. The design, just the overall design of it, and the font. I love the font. And of course, the anticipated question of what books do you need to read by the end of the year? All of them, dude. As always, that's like everyone's answer to this. I will say though, one of my like number one priorities above all else, even above Empire of Silence at this point, is Empire of the Damned by J. Kristoff. And this is just, my dad and I kind of talked about the fact that I would read this and then we could both read the third book together, which I think would be super fucking fun. I want to buddy read that shit with my dad. Even though the contents, I don't know. I think, yeah, we're fine. We're chill. So yes, last year I read Empire of the Vampire on my birthday. I started it on my birthday, but then I didn't finish it until like maybe November. Literally from August to November, I was reading that shit. So I don't know. I'm hoping that I would get through this like a little bit faster than that. But this is definitely like my number one priority. Other than that, I would actually kind of really like to read Dune. I completely forgot or didn't even realize that the third movie is coming out. I still haven't watched the second one because I said that I wanted to read the book before watching the second one. And now the third one's come out and I still haven't read this. But one of my friends from university is reading this right now. And so I was like, hey, maybe I could start reading it and then we could talk about it because that'd be super fucking fun. But she's like 200 pages in already, and I'm like not gonna catch up to her anytime soon. But I think this would be really fun to start at least this year. Right now, I'm in the middle of Red Seas, Red Skies, and I'm having a blast. I'm having such a fun time with this, and I'm so happy that I picked this up. I'm like almost halfway through it right now, so I definitely am gonna finish that this month, or probably in August. My main goal this year, which I haven't been the best at, is reading sequels, and so because of that, I'd still like to get to Hair of the Ninth. I was listening to Gideon as my first reread on audiobook, but then it got returned to the library, so I have to wait for that to get back to me to finish it, and then I'd really like to get to Harrow before the end of the year, and probably also Valor. I think it's about time that I pick this up and get through the series as well before starting all of the other series that I like. Oh, and I managed to find a copy of The Midnight Kingdom, which is, again, the second book after The City of Dusk in the Dark Gods series. And unfortunately, this copy that I found does not match my first edition of the first book. It's much smaller and I have like the American sized paperback, but so I don't know if I want to return this and find an edition that matches, or if I just suck it up and I read this because at least I have it and I spent the money on it. But anyways, I'd really like to read this as well. I did also say that I was going to read The Empire of Silence before the end of the year, but I don't really know if that's going to happen. I don't know. I'd like it to, but like, I don't know. This year has been going by so fast. It takes me kind of more than a month to read like chunky physical books like this, so we'll see. I'll keep you updated. Just come back to my channel, click that subscribe button. final question that is added by some creators to kind of spotlight their own channel and the hard work that is put into a booktube channel. And that is, what is your favorite video that you've published on your channel so far? I'm pretty proud that I've added a couple new or different things this year so far, kind of, that I haven't done before, at least. Like, I really like the vlog that I made where the dice decides how long I read. That was really fun. I also have a couple vlogs that I'm still kind of editing, but it's just that the editing software that I use kind of crashes out pretty often, and so sometimes I lose the footage or it takes a billion years to load. And so there is a vlog that I don't know if I will ever get published where I was reading trans horror, and so if that ever gets published, that was fun to work on. I hope you get to see that and that I can actually finish that video. But in terms of what I actually have out already, my Pride video of ranking every single queer book that I've read so far, that was really fun. That was really fun to do. And I just love the commentary that I make on everything. And I think it's definitely something very different that I haven't done anything like that on a channel before. So if you want to check that out, it's like an hour long, but like, 2x speed that and, you're good. And additionally, I created my own TBR game, and so I debuted that in my July TBR. If you'd like to check that out, it's based on Cranium, which it took a while for me to workshop, but I'm really proud of it because it really also prioritizes self-care and creation, which is something like one of my goals for this year is to make more art, to create more things. And so that is a TBR game that I kind of workshopped it to also include those goals along with the books that I read. So please check that out. I think I had a lot of fun with that, and I cannot wait to play that game again for August. My scheduling and my uploading still hasn't been like as consistent as I wanted it to be, but I'm still pretty proud on the progress that I've made. And yeah, I hope to continue doing this. I just find this to be a lot of fun, even though, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time to like film and edit and everything, but I just have a lot of fun with this anyways, and I'm glad to get my opinions out there to like-minded people. So if you like this, leave a like, and if you want to come back to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. It helps out a small content creator like me build their audience and reach out to more like-minded people. If you want to leave a comment, tell me what your favorite book has been so far this year, or you can leave a bird emoji for bewilderment. I hope to see you in the next one. Have an amazing day. Bye!